What's good, beautiful people? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is OSN, and my name, of course, is Emmanuel Kwame Sapon, but you can call me Olele, or you can find me at Olele Salvador on all social media platforms. Welcome to an exciting edition of the In Case You Missed the Show right here on OSN. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do well to do me the honors and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell or like any of the videos that take your fancy, including this one. And don't forget to also share the link. And today's episode, we are taking a look at something that I genuinely want to address. It's really a harmless observation. And it's something that I think it shouldn't be overlooked because it's been overlooked for some time. Now, President Mahama was in Germany and he attended the Munich Security Conference, where he obviously is the chairperson of the TANA Forum, and he led the TANA MSc side event on deepening global fragmentation, implications for Africa's peace and unity. Now, he didn't only chair the forum, but he also served as a panelist during the leaders segment, which followed the opening of the conference by German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. And that panel focused on, quote, towards a stronger United Nations in a fragmented world. Now, those of you who don't know what the Munich Security Conference is about, it basically discusses the world's security policy challenges, and it brings together hundreds of participants, including heads of state and government, ministers of defense and foreign affairs, and leading figures from academia, business, and civil society. Fantastic, fantastic work. Now, when I woke up and I logged on to my social media, as it were, I realized that TV3, i.e. Media General, had posted a video of the president's contribution to the panel. In this video, he was actually addressing repercussions and what it means for African countries now that US President Donald Trump has halted foreign aid through certain agencies like the USAID and so on and so forth. What caught my attention was the fact that this particular video you are seeing right now was being streamed or was being televised by Woezor TV. Now, there are two schools of thoughts here. There is the media outfit that is under the office of the president or under the presidency communications, right? And it is boldly embossed. You see the emblem there. Now, when a media house has a master feed or a master copy of a particular event, you often see their logo closer to the edge first before you see any other media house putting their logo annexed to it, right? Some of them, some of the media houses don't really respect, they will just emboss their logo on yours. But the whole idea is when you're the first to bring feed or you're the first to put out a feed, and your feed is even of top-notch quality, often when other media houses are tapping into your feed, they put their logo next to you, right? But what caught my attention is this is a presidential occasion, it's a presidential activity. And I was wondering where the station of the nation was. Ever since President John Mahama became president, we've seen, and I stand to be corrected, you may agree or disagree with me, but personally, I have seen that there seems to be some level of preferential access or prioritized access to a private owned media house like Woezor TV, bringing us closer to the president as against what the state broadcaster is licensed and regulated to do under the legal and regulatory framework of the state broadcaster. Now, this is just not unique to this particular visit. When you go to our president's X account, all right, and I'm sure you can even check that, or even his YouTube. Now, look at this. Just look at this. From January 7, since President Mahama got sworn in, look at what I'm talking about here. Woezor TV is the one, that is even amplified on the president's X account. This is the presidential inauguration. You see Woezor TV here. Woezor TV here. Okay? Let's go to National Muslim Prayer and Thanksgiving. Woezor TV is here as well. You see it here as well. You can see it here. It's there. Okay. Then you go to National Prayer and Thanksgiving. Woezor TV. Okay. Still the stream on Woezor TV. All right. President John Mahama's thank you tour in the Volta region. Woezor TV. Okay, no problem. We keep going. The dialogue is live on Woezor TV. All right. Okay, we keep going. This is the Munich conference that Mahama went to. It's also being streamed or being amplified by Woezor TV. Okay. African Union, That was just yesterday. It's also being amplified by Woezor TV. So the question I'm asking myself is, Woezor TV is a private media outfit. It's not the state broadcaster. Now, we all do know that Woezor TV has been with President John Dramani Mahama when he was in opposition as a political party leader, right? They have been, the guys who have amplified his voice. But my point is, President Mahama is no longer a political party leader. He is now the president of the Republic of Ghana, not NDC. It's just the same argument as a presidential jet. And please, let nobody try and politicize this thing. It just could be an oversight, right? Now, those of you who don't understand what I'm saying, the GBC is Ghana's state-owned broadcaster, and it's supposed to operate as a public service media organization. The whole idea of its establishment was to serve the public interest by disseminating information, promoting national unity, and supporting government policies. Now, this state broadcaster also receives funding directly from the government through the Ministry of Information. Now, in the last government, in the extra government, they brought them under Ministry of Communications. It's a key player in state communication, okay? Now, it has a mandate. The mandate includes providing nationwide coverage of events such as presidential activities, which are considered matters of public interest. Wherever the president goes, GBC has to be there. They are the ones to have priority access. They are responsible to amplify and to show us very important events of the state, including the president's activity, whether it's local or global. In fact, if you as a private media house would want to have certain accesses, you need to go through the state broadcaster when it comes to the president. Now, in as much as we have operated some type of semi-decentralized broadcasting in terms of the media freedom and the media independence that came after 1993, they are the only broadcast corporation with branches everywhere in the country. There is no media house that has the arsenal of media broadcasting as much as the state broadcaster. They are called the station of the nation for a reason, right? And so now 16 regions, they have coverage everywhere. TV, radio, print, online wire service. And at TV, you see GTV, GBC, GBC Government, GBC Live, GBTV Sports, Obonu TV, radio, you see them there, and print, see them there, print. Like these guys, in fact, the state-owned media in this country, if you didn't know, the state-owned media are the GBC, which is the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. They are responsible for TV and radio. Then we have the New Times Corporation, responsible for print, okay? Now, you also have the Graphic Communication Group, which is equally also responsible for print. And then online, which is digital media, you have Ghana News Agency. These ones are responsible for writing about the state. In fact, they are the first to actually put out information about the state because they are the mouthpiece of the state without bias. It is government owned, right? Of course, we've seen situations where there has been some level of government interferences in how narrative should be shared, and if you try to do your job, you get fired and so on and so forth. But that's not why we are here, just by the way. So what I'm trying to say is, for a very long time, we've seen a neglected state-owned broadcaster in GBC. And this is not just exclusive to the current government. In previous governments and even successive governments, we've seen that anytime they assume power, they tend to give certain priority access or preferential access to pro-ruling politically owned media firms or media corporations as against the state broadcaster. Now, I don't have a problem with, I really do not have an issue with media houses and how they get their news and whatnot. But when it comes to the state, now I know many of you are going to argue that, oh, Woezor TV has been with Mahama even when he was in opposition for years and so on and so forth. Yes, we do know that. We also do know that the owner of Woezor TV is my very own uncle, Stan Dobe. Solid man, fantastic guy when it comes to events, brands and events. I always respect him for that. But this is not really about the brands and events aspect. It's about what we are allowing, right? So when we raise concerns and we raise questions, because we've seen some examples in the past that were not good examples. More so, we voted for change or we voted for a reset. In the SOR government, we raised concerns when we saw a Kennedy Japan Net2 TV having a similar situation, a similar access over the state broadcaster. Even if you take it out of media and broadcasting, we have scenarios of state insurance company SIC being treated as an outcast and enterprise insurance company given some level of preference or priority. We also saw the National Lottery Authority, the NLA, taking the rights away from the state-owned broadcaster, which is GBC, and giving it to a privately owned broadcaster, which is UTV. We also saw that even when it comes to our football, the Ghana Premier League, taken away from the GBC or the GTV and given to Star Times, a Chinese company. These are issues that we need to pay attention to. So if Team Oral has not even thought about this, maybe they should check with GBC. Maybe they should find out why it's the way it is. Someone will argue, but you don't even watch GBC, you don't watch the fact that I don't watch GBC or I don't watch GTV does not take away its mandate. We have to be careful. Their mandate is so clear. They are responsible for coverage across the length and breadth of this nation. No other station has that reach. If the issue with GBC is that they are not up to task, so far as it's a government-owned institution, there needs to be some reset there. If you look at the 2017 Media Ownership Monitor in Ghana, the GBC is arguably one of the institutions or the places that are heavily funded by the state, as of 2017, when the report came out. So if it's an issue of financial embezzlement and people are not doing what they're supposed to do to meet the standard, that is why they are often overlooked, then it is government's responsibility to come in. If it is the machines, the equipment, or the devices that are not up to standard, government, it is your responsibility to make sure that it is up to standard. So we can't be quiet and watch them deteriorate further and say, oh, GBC is not up to standard. It's not up to standard because they have been neglected in so many ways. The people who are responsible for the running of the institution who have failed may still be there. The resources that may be needed to get it up and running may be obsolete. The OB van that is at the GBC was bought by ex-President Kufuor. Since then, no other president has bought an OB van for GBC. You should see the OB van. You should enter the OB van and see what's inside. It's an eyesore. If people are not doing their jobs at the state institutions, clear them, take them out. There is no way a private product or a private company should be a leader in certain sectors. You can't go to the UK and have maybe Capital One Extra try to overtake BBC or try to overtake Channel 3 or whatever when it comes to certain matters of broadcasting. The editorial policy of the BBC is bar none because BBC is owned by the state, is owned by the United Kingdom. In fact, when something happens around the Prime Minister or even around the King or previously the Queen, the BBC is the first to announce it. So much so that when there's breaking news in the UK, around the government, around the seat of government, around the monarch, right? If BBC does not break the news or does not share, it cannot be authentic. What we are doing is we are actually destroying the confidence in state institutions like the GBC. These are some of the things that we have seen in the last 8 years. We can't allow it to be business as usual. And somebody will wonder, why are you doing this? It's because this ruling party set a standard for themselves, and that's why we are holding them to those standards. We sat here for 8 years and we saw how the standards were not dropped to the ground. They were buried 6 feet. But the assurances and the promises and the intent with which they have come into power allows us to hold them to these higher standards. If we have voted for a government to reset, we are not asking for certain sectors to be resetted and other sectors be left alone because the optics don't look great. And I'm not in the business of equalization. That's why myself with 6 other million Ghanaians voted the actual government out. This is not like America where the ownership of media is decentralized. They don't really have a state ownership, right? So you can have Fox and you can have CNN and that's fine. But here we have GBC and they are supposed to be the leaders of standards of quality in media practice, in journalism, so on and so forth when it comes to that sector. So if the Minister of Communications by any chance is watching this video, you have a huge task to revamp, revive, and revitalize the state's broadcaster. It shouldn't be business as usual where people will just come and overlook and go. No, please do well to fix GBC. Please do well to bring GBC back to its glory days in terms of resources, in terms of human personnel, in terms of programming whatsoever. GBC is, or GTV is the station of the nation and it has to act like one. Enough of the trolling, enough of the mockery. Yes, there's been an avalanche in the distribution of many private media firms. But if you even watch the last media statistics report, most of these private media firms are politically owned. So you can imagine the kind of biases and narratives or agenda that's always set. So if NDC should lose power and MPP comes, they will find another media house that will be the first in terms of priorities to run. No. And nothing much can be done about it because of media freedom and media independence. But the state broadcaster and the president, they are like Siamese twins. When you come into government, your mandate is to make sure that the state institutions are working. The standards are up to this place. There is no way we should be calm and cross our legs and oh, because Woezor TV is giving us better quality. Shout outs to Woezor TV. They've been at it for time. But if the state broadcaster is nowhere to be found, we need to ask questions because salaries are being paid. And it should take an equal interest of the government, as it were, with our health and finance sectors to bridge the gap. I saw Uncle Stan comment my post suggesting if Woezor TV may have appropriated the rights of GTV. And I'm like, no, not at all. But it's not looking good. It doesn't look good when the state broadcaster is not the first to have such important activity around the president. They're not the first to have it. Wherever the presidents go, they have to go. And if somebody is heading that institution and is failing to be the first or be the leader in such a conversation, then we need to lay the axe because people are being paid. It has nothing to do with appropriating rights at all. But what I think is there's been an overlapping of responsibility. And because maybe GBC has not been respected for years, it feels and it looks okay. No, I'm not saying private media companies, of course, we have that media freedom, media independence since 93, so it's okay. But I'm saying that when it comes to the president is supposed to be amplifying the state broadcaster. Woezor TV can still go ahead and do what it does best as a media house, as a media firm. But we cannot ignore the responsibility of the state broadcaster. Under no circumstance whatsoever should a certain president amplify a stream from a private media outfit. No, however you guys want to defend it, but the truth is it is not looking good. It's either coming directly from the office of the president or the presidency communications, or it is coming from the state broadcaster. Fini. This one is not even an issue. It's not. No. Let's see. We are not talking. No. You're talking. Akrobotobese. The question that why I am born in China. I don't even know what has happened to our press corps these days. I don't know what's happening currently with this new administration. I don't know whether it's part of the grand plan, the grand scheme to consider reconstituting it and giving access to key media houses to follow the president on some of these trips. I don't know what's happening to that. But we shouldn't continue things that we bemoaned and lamented under the previous government and tend to equalize conversations. No. The reason why Ghanaians voted for the NDC or they voted for this government was because the hope is to undo so many wrongs that were done under the 8 years of their ruling. Questions need to be asked. What is going on at GBC? What is happening with the state broadcaster? If we want to dissolve it, let's dissolve it and know that, okay, we don't have a state broadcaster, so this conversation shouldn't hold. But so far as you have a state broadcaster and certain things are being accessed by privately owned companies before the state broadcaster, and then the NTR said, we need to ask questions. You know what I think? I think Uncle Standobe, with his experience in media, production, broadcasting, events whatsoever, should really bring his expertise to the fore and help improve a state broadcaster like GBC. Let me know what you guys make of this in the comments below. The name, of course, is still Emmanuel Kwame Sapon, but you know where to find me on Olele Salvador. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next upload. Bye-bye.